All right, welcome to the 5 a.m. grind. Horace, what's up, man?
Nothing much, man. What's up with you?
It's good. It's good. I actually thought for this podcast we'd start with a bit of a PSA, so public service announcement.
What is that?
That is, it's been Ramadan, and our publishing schedules have been a bit off.
Oh, yeah.
So apologies to our viewers and listeners. The schedule has been a little bit off, right? Because we've been fasting. It's been a little tough.
It's been a bit rough to juggle everything
at the same time. We probably should have announced this before going into Ramadan that our publishing schedule might be slightly off, but now normal service has resumed.
Yeah.
And just so that our viewers and listeners know, we usually drop a new episode every Tuesday and every Thursday at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Right? That's why it's called the 5 a.m. grind. So every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 a.m. When we do have a guest interview, we usually publish just the interview for the week, and it's usually done on a Tuesday at 5 a.m. Right? So if you want new episodes or new content from us, it's usually Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 a.m. Yeah. I feel like viewers and listeners need that,
Yeah, I don't know. 100%.
They need to know when we're publishing.
And for those viewers who don't, who aren't familiar with Ramadan, it's basically in the Islamic faith, you're fasting from sunrise to sunset for 30 days.
Yeah.
Or 29 to 30 days. And it's like this year, it's how long were the fasts? They were
so it started 5:40. I mean, no, not 5:40. 4:40.
4:40.
4:40 to 8:40 towards the end, right? Because the days get longer as you go through the month.
So that is 16 hours.
16 hours.
16-hour fast.
So
and it's a dry fast, so it's not like you can have water or anything like that either. So it's no food, no water for 16 hours every day for 29 to 30 days in a row.
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
So you fast really long during the summer, and then during the winter, the fast is much shorter.
Yeah.
I actually had a proposal to all the all the Muslims that maybe we should just have the fast consistent from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And just even it out the winter and the summer months. Anyway, so we're back on track, back on schedule. We should be able to deliver consistent content week on week. So tune in because we've got a few guest interviews coming up as well. I'm pretty excited about the guests we're going to be having on, so it should be pretty good.
Yeah, we got a lot of content.
Yeah, coming up. So we're pretty excited. We hope you are too. All right, so for today's episode, I thought we'd cover an interesting topic, which is your circle of friends. So the company you keep. So, a lot of young people struggle with this, making friends at a younger age. And I'd say it's something you struggle with even as an adult, just your social circle, the people you talk to, the people you're close to. And I thought we'd cover the following questions. So we'll ask each other how many close friends we each have. How important is the company you keep? So that's number 2. Number 3, have you ever distanced yourself from some friends in the past? Number 4, what are some good qualities a friend should have? And number 5, as an adult, do you think it's hard or easy to make new friends? All right, so number 1, how many close friends do you have? Is it just me? Is it just... how many close friends do you have, Harris? Or friends do you consider close?
I would say 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
It's a handful.
Yeah. 3 or 4 is probably a stretch, that I would.
It's a very small circle.
Yeah. But then again, I think those are my only friends too. I don't know if there's a lot of acquaintances, I guess, that I would have.
Yeah.
Like for my, I guess, understanding or my approach to friendship is either I've got your back and I can give you, the time. Because friendship is not just about on board, let's go hang out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a meaningful relationship. Meaningful relationship means that you need to devote time to it like anything else.
Yep.
And you need to be able to give it what it's doing, and you benefit from it as well. But then the person that you're with also has to be, understanding that same sense, and you're kind of traversing through life together. So you can't have a lot of friends, at least I can't, if I want to, really put a lot of meaning into them. So I feel like I have 3 or 4. What about you?
Yeah, no, it's the same. I'd say the adage of quality over quantity applies to this quite a bit. Yeah. Because, again, it's about the quality of relationships you have as opposed to just the number of friends you have. Yeah. Like, a lot of people, even on Facebook or social media, they have thousands of followers. But then if you speak to them, they're quite lonely and depressed and have anxiety and all this stuff. Because a lot of those friends aren't very real. There isn't someone they can really talk to about their problems or the issues they face in life. They're not very close to anybody.
You know, like, I find, like, even with a 3 or 4, I think I'm very close to them. Yeah. In that, like, for example, you and I feel like we're very close. Yeah. We know each other's families. We know what we're doing. We know what our goals are. We know what our temperaments are, you know? Correct. We can hold each other down in different ways. So there's that. I feel like a lot of people don't have that. I feel like a lot of individuals that I kind of see, they may be hanging out with people, but they don't know the people that they're hanging out with. They're trying to leave a certain type of impression and all of that. I don't consider that to be close. I don't consider, like, just hanging out all the time to be close. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I could see you once a year, you know, but I'd still be close to you because I know you. You get what I mean? But if I see you every day, it doesn't make me close to you because if that was the case, then you'd be closest to your boss, right? He'll be your best friend.
Yeah. No, agreed.
So, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay, makes sense. So then let's go to number 2. How important is the company you keep? And I'll start this with a couple of quotes. Why don't I start this and then you can give me your thoughts. So how important is the company you keep? We've always been told the company you keep is very important. And I'll give a couple of quotes. Now, the first one is, tell me who you walk with and I'll tell you who you are. Yeah. So, like, basically the people that you are around with really are a reflection of who you are. And number 2, this one is a little bit harsh, but it says, when you walk with trash, you smell the same. You end up smelling the same.
Yeah. No, but here's my thing, though. When you're walking with trash, right? And so in that, I guess you end up smelling the same, but you're still kind of differentiating between the trash and yourself, right?
Right. Yeah.
I would say the friends you keep is a reflection of who you are yourself. So it's not like that you're smelling like trash. You are trash if you're with trash.
So you mean if you are trash, you'd attract trashy people?
Yeah. It's like that's who you are. Like if you show me a person's friends, I'll show you who they are. I'll tell you who they are. Yeah. Right. Correct. The kind of person that they are, because they have to put up with that stuff, right? Yeah. Not put up. They have to enjoy it. Friends are something that you can leave. It's not like family, right? Like family, you're kind of stuck with, right? You can, arguably, some people say you could drop it if you want, but for the most part, your brothers and sisters, you can't get more like blood brothers and sisters.
You don't choose those.
Yeah, but friends, you can go in and out, whatever. So now, because you have that option, and you don't have that optionality in much things in life, it's not like you can get up and pick a new job the day you want to. Yeah. Right. So with friends, it's the same. It's there's an optionality to it, and so it really shows up in an individual's discretion when you see the type of friends that they have. Right.
Yeah. Could you give me an example, or maybe I'll come up with an example, where the company you keep really influences you in a bad way? Like, we know the common example, which is in high school, we have peer pressure, people make you want to do drugs, etc. Yeah. But we're all about, self-development, career pursuits and entrepreneurship, like pursuing your goals in entrepreneurship. Would you say there are some friends that sometimes take you away from that?
Yeah, definitely. I think for most people.
Yeah.
Not for most people. I'd say if you are ambitious. Yeah. And you want to get ahead in whether it's in your career or your business, whatever it is, I feel like a lot of people will gather around friends who will be like, oh, we're doing well, you're doing well. You know what I mean? And it's amazing. And let's just, be happy and almost pretentious about it. Yeah. Right? And there's nothing wrong with being happy, but when it comes to a point where you're kind of in that bubble, validating one another, and you're not pushing one another, that's horrible for you. That's like the worst thing that can happen. You're validating
each other the whole time. Yeah.
You're only validating, right? Like it's not like validating anything. Yeah, it's not like there's anything wrong with validating, right? Because sometimes, like, me and you will ask advice from one another, and we're trying to figure out what the other person thinks. And to some extent, we do need validation because it's like, okay, is this right? Right. But at the same time, it's much more meaningful knowing that if you don't like something, you'll tell me. You'll be like, okay, no, I don't think this idea is good because of A, B, and C.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and then I also, on the other end, is like friends who are like, yo, I just say it as it is, and they're disrespectful. I think there should always be respect and etiquette when communicating amongst friends, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm just like who I am and I just say it as it is. Well, you can say it as it is in a respectful way, right? But at the same time, say it as well. You get what I mean? Those are two opposite spectrums.
Yeah.
So you need to be in a friendship or relationship with someone that can validate, but they push and they're respectful. There's a lot of kind of, I guess, it's not a simple answer, but there's a lot of things that are involved in a strong friendship.
Yeah.
Whereas with like, when you have like toxic friendships, either they're beating you up, or they're like, there's always underhanded stuff going on.
Yeah.
But even if that's not there and you're just validating yourself and you are not trying to improve one another, I think that's still like same thing. It's like, it's not far from being toxic.
Yeah.
It's not really pushing you to grow, to be a better person.
Yeah. No, agreed. I think the whole thing about friendship is, and I know this is not going to sound very politically correct, but there's the whole thing about even people who are overweight. They tend to be, if they're overweight, their friends are overweight, they're more likely to stay overweight instead of losing that weight. It's very similar to that. Like, you are very much a reflection of the company you keep. If you have friends who are lazy, it's quite likely that some of that will spill over onto you. It's inevitable. If you spend that much time with that person, they'll rub off on you a little bit. We're all human beings. At the end of the day, we're trying to assimilate, trying to get to know each other, trying to, become... sort of have the same vibe as the same person we're talking to. So it's natural that you will adopt some of their qualities, right? The other thing I'd say about the company you keep is it's something you touched on, and you said just about the validation and the way people speak to you, etc. The one thing that I sometimes look at is just this whole thing about envy and jealousy, right? It's like... I have a quote here by Imam Ali alayhi salam, and he says, if a friend envies you, then he's not a true friend. And this is really about, let's take an example. You are a billionaire. Let's say you made your first billion, okay? Sometimes I get two thoughts. Number one, I could be jealous. Or number two, and this is the thought I've sort of taken as an adult, it's like, if Horace made $1 billion, I'd want you to make your next $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see you succeed as opposed to me being that friend who's jealous about it, which I think is terrible. It's a terrible attitude to have, because I'll tell you what, between friends, it tends to be like this sometimes, where you're a billionaire and then people are like, some of your friends go, well, why is he a billionaire? They're like, what did he do? I'm jealous. But then they see another billionaire in society and they're like, oh, it's okay for them to have money, but I'm jealous of the money that my friend has. It's like, dude, so that stranger can make $1 billion, but when your friend does it, it's wrong and you're jealous of him? Yeah. Right? Like, why is that a problem? And I guess it's because how human beings are. Because I know you and you're a billionaire, I'm automatically jealous of you, but I'm not jealous of that stranger who has $1 billion.
And it's more like I knew him. I could have been in this position too, almost, right? Like, I was there.
Right.
Like, I saw this person from nowhere to somewhere, and I could have been there as well, and why not me?
Yeah. So you become jealous.
Yeah. But also, dude, I think jealousy, like, so in the West, in the Western tradition, like, jealousy, there's predominantly just one definition, right? But if you go to Eastern cultures, there's more than one definition. There's more than one types of jealousy. Yeah. So in the West, there's jealousy where you have something, I want it, and I don't want you to have it, right? Yeah. But in Eastern cultures, there's a jealousy where you have something, I want it, but it doesn't mean that I don't want you to have it. I want you to have it, but I want myself to have it too. That's a type of jealousy, right? I think there's nothing wrong with that type of jealousy, as long as you're not kind of wishing harm on somebody else or to take away from somebody else. Yeah. If you want something that somebody else has, you should have it and then go get it.
And I think it's totally fine. That type of thing is totally fine. But I should be like, look, because the world is big enough for you to be a billionaire and for me to be, you know, half as successful. Right? It's big enough. There is enough opportunities such that it's like a lot of people assume that, oh, if you're successful and I'm not, it's a zero-sum game. Because it can only be either you or I. It can't be both of us. And it can be both of you. That's the thing. right? So I could say, hey, Horace, you have a lot of success. I wish you more success, but hopefully I can have some of what you have, but not taking it away from you by pursuing it myself.
Yeah. No, but also the vanity also, I feel like within all this context is nobody's really jealous over somebody else's character.
Yeah,
When that's
true.
where we should be moving towards.
It's always the materialistic stuff.
It's more like, oh, he's got a lot of money and whatever. But that really means nothing. Like if you're a person, like if you see somebody who's like really charitable and all of that, that's the kind of stuff maybe you'd want to be jealous of, in that you want to do it yourself without taking it away from the other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's the type of, or like somebody who's just really well-read, intelligent, well-spoken, all these attributes, right, that make you like a human being. Like those are things that like really make you a person, right? Those things are the ones that people should be competing for. I definitely think that there should be a type of jealousy where you'd want it without the other person not having it.
Yeah,
right?
agreed.
Like you'd want them to have it and for yourself to have it as well.
Yeah, totally true. I guess so good points. Question number 3 was, have you ever distanced yourself from friends in the past? I think, have you ever done that?
Me? I don't know. No, I you know what?
And maybe I wouldn't say distanced. You just don't talk. You sometimes just, you have nothing in common anymore. You just don't associate with the same things, have different interests. So you just kind of lose touch with people. That's all it is. I don't think have you ever purposely distanced yourself? I don't do that. People just fall in and out of your life. Sometimes you just kind of lose touch. You don't have a lot of interests or common points.
But I mean, the reason you'd fall out of touch is because, like for me, for example, I'll give you the trajectory of my, like
okay,
life.
Here we go, trajectory. Yeah.
So like when you're in like high school and stuff, undergrad, right? You're in these experiences in your life where you're just trying to like, you're just meeting a lot of people, right?
You're trying to get approval.
Yeah,
right? You just want to be liked. Yeah.
But you're also in, I would say, hyper social situations that you're not going to be in again, right? So if you're going in undergrad, you're taking classes, right? And there's like 100, 1,000 people, right? You're not going to, and you're only there for an hour and then you're learning together. There's a reason for you to collaborate with other people. And there's a lot of free time in and around these times that you're kind of all committed to, right? That kind of is conducive to making friendships, and you'll be friends with a lot of people, right? And at that time in life, you don't have a lot of other responsibilities, right? You're only going there. But as you get older, your responsibilities go up. So you're spending time in places where you're owing time to, for example, your family. You have work. You have all these other responsibilities that you have to be focused in on. But at the same time, when you're younger, your experiences are different, but they're not as different and not as pronounced as you get on later in life. Mm-hmm. So as you get later on in life, you're like, all right, well, you do have to reevaluate, and there's nothing wrong with saying, all right, these group of people are not where my values are. It's not where I see my life headed, and I can't really relate to them. So I don't know if it's not serving justice to either one of us to continue being friends or, being in touch. Not that I'm going to go hate on people or whatever, you know what I mean? But that's just a natural kind of progression. Mm-hmm. And then as you get on later on in life, you stick with the people who, there's more common values.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think that's because the stakes get bigger as you grow older? Is that why? So you lose touch with some people?
I feel like the stakes are higher when you're younger because you have so much more, you know what I mean? Like it's, if you hang out with one group versus another group, it could completely change the trajectory of, for example, your career, of your personal life, of anything.
Right. It certainly does.
I just feel like later on, it's the relatability aspect that goes away.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people that I can no longer relate to now that I could have related to at a younger age. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because if we're an undergrad, we're all talking and whatever, we're all experiencing the same thing. I mean, trying to understand the same stuff. It's fine. But now, 10, 15 years later, the experiences that we've had since then, like there's a valley between me and individuals that I would have been perfectly fine speaking to. What about you?
Yeah. No, I agree. You know, as you were saying this, I was thinking about why you and I and a few of my other friends have stayed in touch. And a lot of my really close friends, come to think of it, have been with me since either high school or university. So it's been a long time. And why have I stayed in touch with them? I don't know. It's hard to say. But I would say it comes down to it's a little bit intangible in that we have the same values. We have the same outlook on life. We just vibe. We have the same goals and drive, etc. And that's the people, I don't know, that I've sort of gravitated towards.
Yeah.
Have I lost touch with some other people? Yeah. Like, we just had different ways of looking at life and different... we just wanted to go to different places in our lives. I wanted to go in a certain direction. They wanted to go somewhere else. So we sort of lost touch. And it's not that I consider those people to be bad or whatever it is, insulting, stupid, whatever. No, it's just... they have a different outlook on life and a trajectory, and I have mine, so it is a bit different.
Yeah,
and that's all it is.
And it's about, and it won't do anyone of you justice by hanging out with one another. It's like building a house, right?
Yeah.
When you're like younger, you don't need that many things, right? Like you're just trying to figure stuff out. You could live in a room or whatever, and that's it. And there's a lot of people willing to live in just one room. But then as you get older, right? Depending on your profession, depending on who you marry, depending on your family, depending on your kids, depending on your friends, your house requires different rooms with different things in it, right? And it's not going to be similar to a lot of the people you're dealing with, and you don't necessarily need to be the closest of friends. Now, if you do find commonalities between other people, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But the close, like the tight friends that you have, your like confidants, I guess, there's a lot of overlap, which is why like they can empathize with you and really help you get to wherever you're going. Yeah,
so true. So I'd say let's move on to number 4, the fourth question, because I wanted to cover this one, which I think it's a pretty good question. What are some good qualities a friend should have? And I guess I can go first on this one. I'll start with a quote again, and it says that it's a quote by Imam Ali alayhi salam as well. And it says, a friend cannot be considered a friend until he is tested on 3 occasions. Number 1, in time of need. Behind your back, number 2. And number 3, after your death. And I really like the behind your back one.
Yeah.
Because a true friend to me means even if you're not there, behind your back, they're singing your praises. Not singing your praises, but, you know, they're not bad-mouthing you or trying to bring you down.
Yeah.
And if someone in a room says something bad about you, they're there to be like, no, this person is not like this. I know them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's a big, big, big quality.
No, 100%.
What other qualities do you think are some good qualities to have?
I mean, that's pretty succinct. Because like it's like between those 3 examples, you can derive different qualities from, but you could find them in all those 3 examples that you stated.
Yeah.
But it's like for example, loyalty, time of need, when like or behind your back, right? Like that's huge. Loyalty, sincerity, right? Honesty, all those things. Where and what really makes a good friend is somebody who's self-aware.
Yeah.
All right. Who understands them. And then when they're interacting with you, they have that understanding of themselves as they speak to you. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for example, if you're doing something and I'm not a big fan of it, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, hypothetically speaking. Right. Now, it's not my job necessarily not to say anything.
Right.
But it's also not my job to say something, right? It's trying to understand who you are, where you're going, and then understanding myself to see how I could be biased in that, and then explaining something. Does that make sense?
Right,
like,
right.
There's a lot of factors and moving parts in there.
Yeah.
But it's really like a good friend is a person who understands themselves and you, so that when they're having a conversation with you, they speak accordingly. Right?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'd say a couple of things here, like good qualities of friends that, you know, I have, like yourself and other people that I'm really close to. So 2 things. Number 1 is I hate those friends that, you know, sometimes I'll say, like, I have a goal. I'll be like, I want to make $1 million of this.
Yeah.
I want to be around those friends that tell me, like, if a friend tells me, no, you can't make that $1 million, like, that usually, like, pisses me off. Because never, and I don't do this to my friends either. If you tell me, Horace, tomorrow that you want to have a 50-person law firm, I would be like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be my place to ever tell you, hey, calm down your ambition, or to tell you, I don't think you can do it. Because you know what? I hate it when actually really motivates me. When someone says, Ali, you can't do this. I'm like, wow, buddy, you just gave me a reason to prove you wrong. And I'm not going to rest until I prove you wrong.
Yeah.
So that's definitely like one quality that is good to have. It's those friends that don't doubt you. If you say, I'm going to conquer half the world, they're like, oh, it seems ambitious, but yeah, go for it. Like, do it. Do it. They should be able to encourage you. So that's one. The other quality you have, and I guess this is kind of the other side of the coin, but it should be played very carefully. And this is that you don't want to be around people that make you comfortable, that are comfortable to be with, right? You want to be around friends that sort of level you up, right? So, for example, if I record this podcast episode, for example, and it's crappy, the best thing a true friend can do for me, in my opinion, is to tell me how I can genuinely improve it. As opposed to saying, no, it's good. It's good when it's actually crappy. If you don't like it and you say it's good, you're doing a disservice to me, right? Or the other side, which some people take, which is they become overly critical. And they're like, whoa, dude, like, relax. Right? It's a fine balance between giving constructive criticism, being overly critical, or not giving any helpful advice at all.
And it's more like, again, I would bring it back to they know you enough to say, okay, well, I know Ali wants to get here, point B, he's at point A.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to say he can't get there, nor am I going to like constructively criticize the heck out of whatever he's doing. It's more like I'm helping him take the next step to get to point B. Correct. He's not going to get to point B right away, but I'm going to help him take the next step. What's the next improvement he can do to get to point B? Once he's done with that, then we'll think about the next step and the next step, right? So I think friends are definitely, and you know what the funny thing is now that I'm thinking about it, either one of us hasn't spoken about friends being a good time. And I think that is, to a lot of people, like, friends are something I have a good time with and having fun. Yeah. And I feel like as much as that's right, I only have a fun time or a good time with friends who are constructively, criticizing the work that I'm doing and helping me grow as a person, because that's what's gratifying. Yeah, yeah. And if you're with friends that are like, just you're having a good time, you're going to be like, it's in the long term, I feel like it definitely is not good because it's not helping you grow as a person.
I agree. It's not a recreational thing. Like my relationship with you, it's like I'm here because you're helping me improve my career and my life.
Yeah, and same thing.
You're helping me push forward. Yeah. Because let's be honest, life can be pretty tough sometimes, and it's a pretty lonely road. Yeah. And having a friend who's there by your side, who you can bounce ideas off of, who can help you grow as an individual, as a person, help you grow your business, push you forward, show you the opportunity, give you clarity of thought. Dude, all that stuff is really important. Yeah. As opposed to, someone who's just there to give you a good time. Like, it's not a stress relief, man.
Or like you're just like, you feel like good about yourself by talking to them because, oh my God.
Oh, they're approving of everything I do and blah, blah, blah.
Or like they're like have a really nice job and now I'm friends with them. So now I feel like I'm in this group or what. It's like dumb, man.
It is.
And I find like a lot of people that's like high school, and a lot of people don't get out of that high school mentality.
Yeah, they don't get out of it.
Yeah, they're just like stuck in that, like, like, oh my God. So in order for you to grow, you got to be around people who have that same kind of mission, and they can help you achieve the same thing in a respectful, caring, loyal, sincere manner.
Yeah, yeah. I had two other questions. Number one, do you think this whole mentality, because a lot of people say, like I listen to some other self-development podcasts, and what they say is sometimes when you reach a certain level of success, some people change their friends. Do you believe in that stuff? Like some people, they're like, because my old group of friends is kind of like, they don't understand.
Yeah, I do believe in that. Because you can't understand, people are going to have a different outlook when you're at different stages in your life.
Okay, so if you become a billionaire, you'll stop talking.
No, it's not that. It's more like it's a mental like difference. Like when you're like, it's the same thing, dude. Like, are you gonna be hanging out with people who are content with whatever job they're at and they're fine? Like, not that there's anything wrong with that,
right?
But you would tend to gravitate towards people who are trying to struggle to get ahead.
Yeah. I guess it does. Yeah, it kind of changes your perspective. Yeah. And that's not to say, like, for example, if I'm successful or if you're successful, I think we'd still talk because a relationship is not about that. It's kind of separated from it. Do you know what I mean? And some successful still have friends who are very in a different socioeconomic class, and they still keep in touch. That's because it's beyond just that, right? Like, that person is pushing you not in the pursuit of material things, but just in the pursuit of your career, your development in your life, all that. All right, so any parting thoughts on just friendship and things like that, relationship, all that stuff?
Yeah, before you get out and figure out who your best friends are, or reevaluate the relationships that you have, look into yourself and figure out, like, what you want in life.
Yeah.
And then that's a good starting point to figure out the kind of type of people that you want. And then really understand that strong relationships that are meaningful, are relationships where you're honest with one another, but respectful at the same time.
Yeah. I'd say along the same lines, the company you keep is really important. They definitely rub off on you. If you have friends that don't support you in your growth, that don't support you in your life, that are always naysayers, or just on the opposite side, they're just yes men, they always tell you yes about whatever it is that you're doing, then maybe it's time to reevaluate your social circle, right? Doesn't mean you cut these people off or these people are bad, but maybe you want to consider, expanding your social circle to have people in that circle who support your growth, your career, your trajectory in life, and help you become a better human being. Yeah. All right? All right, we'll leave it there. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Take care.